Hey friends! Over New Year's, we had a great time going to see my oldest daughter, Paige, and her sister, Lily. We brought an unexpected visitor back with us from Atlanta, and it's called COVID. And here you see Sue, John, and I and having some fun with the Florida border. We, of course, live just over the border. However, while I was stuck in quarantine, I did get a little bit of crafting done, so here are a couple of projects that I had fun with. And of course, because it had been a few weeks since we'd had a chance to get to the booth, I've got a booth reset for you also. Saturday the 15th was the first chance that I had to actually come see the booth since before Christmas. Being sick with COVID, I couldn't go anywhere in public for 2 weeks. And yeah, it is a hot mess. The guys dropped off a couple of pieces of furniture for us because we actually sold about 4 pieces over the holidays. Unfortunately, when the booth is not someplace that you're at every day, when a piece of furniture sells, everything just sort of gets relocated. And in this case, that often meant onto the floor. So our booth is in what we like to refer to as a hot mess. I mean, a hot mess. Sue and I are going to do the best we have. We only have a couple hours. And it is Saturday, the busiest day, so we don't really want to be in the booth interrupting people. We had a great day, ended up selling probably about 25 pieces out of our booth, including the two metal shutters on either side of those signs. But we will show you what we were able to accomplish in probably about an hour and a half of, I'm going to say, fluffing the booth. There's still a lot more that could be done, but this is what we were able to do in a short visit. One of these weeks, I will get around to doing actually a full tutorial on staging your booth. It's just not this week, unfortunately. So for my first project, I'm going to take some of this red burlap ribbon that I had stashed left over from Christmas wreath decorating, and I'm just going to cut a piece probably about 14 inches long. You can go shorter or longer. The length this is going to be a rose, so it'll depend on how many times around. About 12 to 14 inches is a really nice full rose. I trimmed both edges in order to be able to pull the strings out. You're going to actually start pulling all of the individual strings that are in the middle, keeping about 1/4 of an inch or less on the top and bottom. You can see here, this is just a time lapse of me pulling all of those strings out. Once you've pulled out all of the center strings and you have just a fine band left, you want to go ahead and fold this in half and use some hot glue to secure those ends. Then you're just going to use your hot glue gun and start gluing in and sort of rotating this into a circle. It doesn't take a lot of glue, and you don't want this to seep out all over the place. So really, this is just sort of going to be folding, gluing, rolling, folding, gluing, rolling until you've wound your entire piece. Once you've wound it up, it looks like this. And I'm going to use a bobbin. I use these in my Christmas trees. I still have some left over. I'm going to sort of push that center in, and then I am going to hot glue these two together. So the bobbin is going to become my stem, and it'll go up a little bit into that flower.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season.
I'm also going to use this green ribbon that I had left over from wreath making. I already had it cut with the dog ears. This is not a necessary step. It just happens to be that I had a stack of it in the right color green to create the stem part that wraps around the rose. So here I'm just going to cut this into strips. These are about 8-inch strips, and I am going to wrap it around my rose. Sometimes I used one piece of the half cut ribbon, and sometimes I used one, sometimes I used 2. It just depended on how I felt that the rose was coming along. And again, this is just a matter of gluing it in place. what do you think of my ribbon roses? Let me know in the comments below.
Okay, so today I have come to a fencing company and I just went inside and asked if they had any old fencing or scrap fencing, and they told me I could drive around and I could take whatever I want. Just be sure not to step on any nails. So I'm gonna flip my camera around and show you what I've got here. So they have all kinds of scraps. You know, this is where they come when they take down a fence. They're loading their junk pile. So this is for me to sort through. There's some big piles back there. And there is some over here. So I'm basically gonna go through some of this. Some of these, I'm just gonna see if I can throw the whole big thing in my truck and I'll tear it apart at the warehouse. I do have some gloves in my car, so I'm gonna throw those on and I'm gonna start emptying out things that I think I can make stuff with. Okay, I have loaded up the truck with a fair amount of wood. I'm gonna test and see how this goes through the new planer, or excuse me, drum sander, and I will see if it's worth having my guys come and pick up some of these big fence panels. Hey guys, so I'm about ready to try our new drum sander for the first time, and I picked up some fence wood from a fencing company, and this is kind of what it looks like right now and what it looks like on the other side. And so I'm going to see what this planer does to this fence wood and how long it takes me to get it to be something nice that I can work with. Okay, so here is my after, and it's you can definitely see it's not green anymore. There's still a little bit of green in spots where all the moss and head stuff had grown on it, and it is so soft right now. Like, I could run my hands over it without getting any splinters. It's still, you can still see the rusticness of it, but it is definitely a nice piece of wood now. Now this is my first time ever using it, and so I may not have had the settings exactly right, but I did this with 2 passes on each side, and I definitely will enjoy using this wood. I got a whole bunch of fences out there, so I guess I've got to get some more sanded.
Now that I have some great wood to work with, I'm going to take some hand towels that we had that either had some damage on them or didn't sell for one reason or another. I am going to make little floral wall pockets out of them.
We are close, can you feel it? Something is behind the clouds. We just have to believe it, that we can make the sun come out. Let us lose ourselves.
And I would love to hear what you think about this project and, of course, my brand new toy. For my next 2 projects, I'm actually going to use a chenille bedspread that I had on my bed for many years. It's not vintage, so nobody should feel guilty about me cutting it up. It was just something I got from Amazon probably 5 or 6 years ago. It has some stains and some holes in it, and so I've decided to repurpose it for crafting. First, I'm just shaping out a very large carrot shape. It's sort of roughly a carrot shape out of some cardboard that we had left over from shipping boxes from the holidays. And then I'm going to trace that onto my chenille bedspread and just cut it out. You will need 2 of these carrot shapes for each completed carrot. After I've cut several sets of carrots, I'm going to tear some fabric the same way that I did on the bow on the roses earlier, literally just cutting about 1 inch in, maybe less, and then just ripping the fabric until I've gathered several strings, and then I just tie them together. Then with the right side facing out on my carrots, I'm going to hot glue those strings into place, and that's going to be sort of the greenery that is left on the edge of a carrot when they're pulled out of the ground. After I have that secured very well, then I'm going to go ahead and hot glue all around the edges of my carrot, leaving about 2 inches open for me to stuff it.
My time, so
For our bunny, it's going to be basically the same thing, except for my bunny shape was really kind of a snowman shape, then with 2 ears that I cut out. And it happens that these were done on a fold, so they're not two, but really most of these I did as 2 separate pieces. And so with the bunny ears, I am going to go ahead and completely glue these closed. They're going to be flat. And again, the right side is out so that when you glue them together, they actually, the chenille is on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and glue both sets of bunny ears together. Now, much like we did with the grass on the carrots, I'm going to have the right sides out, and I'm going to place the bunny ears in where I want them to be, and then hot glue those, and then fold the bunny back over it so that the ears will stick out of the bunny head. After that, I hot glue the bunny head, and then stuff it a little bit, and then do the bunny body, again, leaving an inch or 2 for me to continue stuffing it. Don't overstuff when you're doing this. I find it much easier to have a less full bunny. And what do you think of these little projects? On this rose, which is the one I did earlier, I actually took some of that chenille that I had originally cut off and stuck it in the middle, and I thought that came out real pretty. But I really do like my little bunnies and carrots, especially the carrots. Let me know in the comments. And now for our booth change up.
Okay, so we got the booth refluffed. It's not 100%, but it is looking much better. So you can see that these are the 2 new pieces we brought in. We brought in some more transfers and organized them there. This is a great rack full of hilarious hand towels. I saw a lot of these. If the cursing offends you, I apologize, but I will tell you they are best sellers for us. So lots of greenery. We saw a lot of greenery. You'll see that with our booths at market as well. Signs. It's good to have a variety of price points. And you can see that we have put a bunch of little things out for Valentine's Day. Things that are great little Valentine's Day gifts. So here's the other dresser, noodle board. Kind of peek and see. We really need to work on coming in here and hanging art. We need to bring some more. We're running low on that. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I'm not overreaching today. Some cool chairs. These are really cute. I love this little guy. Now, technically it was a Christmas ornament, but around here in Florida, it really can go all year. So we brought this piece in so that we could display all of our Dixie Belle transfers, along with some other items. And I think today, while we were here, we actually sold about 20, 25 smalls. So I wanted to get the clothing out and make this stencils and decoupage paper, but it just didn't happen today, and that's okay. I had shutters on either side. Those sold today. Dixie Belle. And there you go. So that's my booth refresh. Thanks.
And we've also started working over Vintage Bee Design, our own store in Julington Creek. So if you get a chance, be sure to stop by there as well. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you again real soon.